All right. Five, four, three.
The celebrated composer Margaret Jean Allison Bonds, née Majors, born in Chicago in 1913, is one of the most prolific and respected classical African American musicians to date.
Her mother, pianist and church music director Estella Bonds, introduced Bonds to the music world, giving the young Margaret her first piano lessons.
Her father, a physician and writer, Dr. Monroe Alpheus Majors, was a prominent voice in the civil rights movement. However, following the dissolution of her parents' marriage, Bonds lived mainly with her mother and adopted her surname.
Due to her mother's standing as a member of the National Association of Negro Musicians, she was in the frequent company of prominent musical and literary figures, including the composer Florence Price, singer Abby Mitchell, and composer William Marion Cook.
At age 8, her innate musical talent was further fostered at the Coleridge Taylor Music School, leading her to study with composers Florence Price and William Dawson. Upon her admission to Northwestern University in 1929 at age 16, Bonds was forbidden to live on campus or use any of the institution's facility.
Because racism. Prior to her tenure at Northwestern, she had been relatively shielded from segregation, and the experience deepened her interest in civil rights. She took solace in the poetry of Langston Hughes, particularly The Negro Speaks of Rivers, and she persevered.
After 3 years of study, Bonds received the prestigious Wanamaker Prize for her song Sea Ghost and earned her master's degree in 1934. In the very same year, she became the first ever African American to play with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, also performing as the solo pianist in Florence Price's Concerto in D minor for the Women's Symphony Orchestra of Chicago.
After completing her formal studies, Bonds supported herself by teaching piano to local students, most notably a 10-year-old Ned Warren.
She worked tirelessly to refine her compositional voice and leave her mark, but was unsuccessful in an attempt to found a music academy in Chicago.
This prompted her relocation to New York City in 1939. She attended Juilliard and pursued tutelage from the famed Nadia Boulanger. Boulanger, however, refused to teach Bonds after reviewing her portfolio, claiming that she needed no further study. It is unclear whether Boulanger was articulating her true opinion or if she turned down Bonds due to racial prejudice.
Within 1 year of living in New York City, Bonds became steeped in the city's musical scene. She stayed there through the late 1960s, forging an iconic partnership with Langston Hughes, whom she had met and befriended in 1936. She toured as a part of a piano duo and was highly in demand as a composer and arranger in the theater community.
In the 1950s, she composed a number of works set to the poetry of Langston Hughes, including the song cycles Songs of the Season, Three Dream Portraits, the play Shakespeare in Harlem, and A Christmas Cantata, Ballad of the Brown King, which aired on CBS in December of 1960.
The CBS premiere resulted in an explosion of commissions from luminaries such as Leontyne Price and Betty Allen. He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, potentially Bonds' most well-known arrangement, was written specifically for Miss Price.
Following the untimely death of Langston Hughes in 1967, Bonds abruptly relocated to Los Angeles, leaving her husband of 27 years, Lawrence Richards, and 21-year-old daughter Diane behind in New York City.
Finding a professional home at the Los Angeles Inner City Cultural Center and Repertory Theater, she continued her work while offering lessons in the institution's basement.
Heavily affected by personal tragedies, including the loss of her mother in 1957 and Langston Hughes in 1967, Bonds succumbed to alcohol abuse, furthering her depression and isolation. She died at the age of 59 of a heart attack in Los Angeles.
Despite her premature demise, Margaret Bonds left a gargantuan mark on the arts in the 20th century, leaving behind an indelible mark on American classical music. She championed the work of her predecessors.
And she merged vital poetry with visceral, masterful music. She branded an important sound and instilled the Negro Spiritual as a crucial cornerstone into the great American Songbook.
Her voice echoes far and wide to this very day, and musicians and artists continue year after year to recreate her masterpieces.
Inspired by the maverick that she was, and ensuring that her legacy will only be celebrated more and more in the years to come.